Right now, millions of Kenyans are navigating the transition to the new social health authority. For some, it's a line item on a formal payslip. For a market vendor, it's a text message showing an income assessment band. And for many others, it's dialing *147# on their phone to see what they owe. At its core, the new health system is designed to operate like a massive nationwide chama. Instead of a small neighborhood group passing around a pot of savings, it's a collective pool of 50 million citizens. For any chama to stay solvent and function properly, every single member has to put in their agreed-upon share. If too many people skip their monthly payments, the pool dries up, and the person who gets sick has no safety net. Because of this, the math used to calculate exactly who pays what has to be accurate. More importantly, it has to be trusted. If members don't believe the system is fair, they won't pay, and the structure risks collapse. For formal, salaried employees, the math is rigid. The law requires a monthly statutory deduction taken directly from your paycheck at a flat rate of 2.75% of your gross salary. This diagram compares how that rate applies to two different incomes. Unlike the old NHIF system, which maxed out at 1,700 shillings no matter how much you earned, the new SHA formula has no cap. If you earn 50,000 shillings, you pay 1,375. If your gross salary is 500,000, that 2.75% scales linearly, and your deduction is 13,750 shillings. There is, however, a floor to this calculation. No matter how small the gross income, the mandated contribution cannot fall below 300 shillings per month. Employers carry the legal burden here. They are required to deduct these amounts and remit the funds to the authority by the 9th day of every month. While that 2.75% can take a significant bite out of a paycheck, its structure is completely transparent. The authority can count on these payroll deductions appearing every month, providing the chama with its most reliable source of cash. But the majority of Kenyans work in the informal sector, meaning there are no official payslips to deduct from. To figure out what these households owe, the government relies on an algorithm called the means testing instrument. Instead of asking for a flat income number, the system uses proxy variables. It looks at factors like your household composition, what materials your house is made of, and your access to basic services like water and electricity to predict your income. The stated goal of this data collection is to ensure equity. By estimating your true ability to pay, the system attempts to charge a fair proportion of your household wealth, rather than forcing everyone into a flat rate they might not be able to afford. However, independent evaluations by groups like ID Insight, alongside investigative reports, revealed a structural flaw in the model. The machine learning system was trained on a continuous household survey from 2021. By the time SHA launched in 2024, multiple economic shocks had rendered that training data out of date. Because the algorithm lacks current context, it generates what statisticians call inclusion and exclusion errors. In practice, this means genuinely poor households might be assigned premiums they can't pay, while wealthier households with informal income get undercharged. If the algorithm miscalculates your income, the law provides a pathway to push back. Members can request a formal reassessment of their means test, and if the dispute isn't resolved, file a formal complaint with the Social Health Insurance Fund Tribunal. We can see how these structural challenges affect the overall health of the system by looking at the financial statements from the transition year. This chart illustrates the financial reality. While the authority collected 57 billion shillings, there was a massive shortfall. Total income fell 21.2 billion shillings below the target, driven almost entirely by the fact that the majority of registered members in the informal sector have not paid their contributions. This creates a textbook case of adverse selection. Without automatic payroll deductions, many members are holding on to their cash, choosing only to pay their premiums when they fall ill and urgently need to access hospital benefits. When the pool is drained by immediate medical claims, but isn't refilled by healthy members paying their regular dues, the math breaks down. This specific revenue gap is what leads to delayed payments to hospitals. For the millions of formally employed Kenyans, the immediate action is to check your monthly payslips. Ensure that 2.75% deduction is accurate, because right now, those automatic payments are the financial bedrock keeping the system afloat. For those in the informal sector, it's crucial to log into the Afya Yangu portal, complete your profile, and review your assigned premium. If the algorithm's math doesn't match your reality, use the legal appeals process to contest the rate. A national chama of 50 million people cannot survive if half its members quietly opt out. For the safety net to hold, the system requires active participation, transparency from the government, and members willing to hold the authority accountable to its own rules. We've mapped out exactly how the money is collected, calculated, and pooled. The next step is following those funds to see what kind of care they actually buy,